Hi, and welcome to the NBA Economy Show. Today I have a great guest, Unc Brutus, called the Mayor. He's be rolling these spaces. Uh, Welcome, Brutus. We're going to talk about the Knicks. Um,
Favorite subject?
yep,
One of
yeah.
them.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey, well, became a Knicks fan way back 19 right around 1969, 70. I was starting to get that feel through my dad. You know how it is if your dad is a Knicks fan. Even though he was also a Jets fan, I didn't take the Jets. I'm a Giants fan. And as far as baseball, he was a Mets fan. I became a Yankee fan. That was cause my grandmother. But yeah, so I've been around here since the time of both championships. Um but was more definitely a little bit more engaged in the for the 73 one because I was a little bit older, about 8 at that time. But of course, we haven't seen much winning since. So
Yeah.
we did have a good time during the 90s. But I'm on here on Twitter a lot with the spaces. We do a pregame, and we did particularly every game, even the preseason last year. Called Your Take Knicks with myself and Queen Ebony as my co-host. Shout out to her. And then I also do a show sometimes with Queen Pam, who does a post game with also with Knicks Mentality, NYK Mentality, who's a crazy guy within himself, but we try to keep him grounded. But other than that, man, I just love the Knicks, man.
Yeah. You know what? You really do. I haven't really figured out the spaces. I jumped in there a couple times. It gets a little wild. It gets a little wild in those spaces sometimes.
Depends on who's holding it for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. So we talked about how you became a Knicks fan. Where do you think the Knicks are right now? Um,
But right now, this is a golden opportunity that I see for us. I definitely see us as one of the contending teams in the league. I have us as favored in the East. Um, Definitely top two without question, and that's as far as record. But as far as the playoffs, I could see us definitely in the finals. This is a very confident year for myself, barring God forbid any injuries. If you hear me, I'm knocking on wood. Um, this team should definitely be a finals in the finals and winning it. That'll come down to whatever it comes down to, who the opponent is, what have you. But I give us a good chance against any team. The way that this team is constituted this year, I understand it's going to be the first year for Mike Brown. We're going to have to see how what he puts into play as far as his system. The players are going to have to get readjusted to that. So we might have a little bit of a transitioning period early on, but the fact that the players have a little bit of continuity, having played with each other, hopefully they could still rely on some things that they did last year. Even though Mike Brown is going to have his own flavor in
yeah,
there, and I'm very looking forward to seeing what he does with the squad.
yeah. We you just mentioned last year. How did you feel about how the season ended? Were you satisfied with the season, the way it ended?
Wow. Yeah, listen, I thought last year we had a very good opportunity as well to go to the finals. But we got nipped. That first game of that Indiana series, once you give that away the way that we did, it was going to be an uphill struggle. And I thought we could pull it out, but at the end of the day, I think they was at the time just a better team, and they got us. But I was confident that we could have beaten them and gone to the finals. Now, winning it all, I'm not going to say that I think we might have been able to win it all, but I definitely could have seen us in the finals. It was kind of disappointing to lose to the Pacers again.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of times is what have you done for me lately? So did the way that the playoffs ended, did it change how you felt about the season last season?
To me, really, because the expectation was Eastern Conference Finals. You know what I'm saying? At least for me, that's what I was looking for. But now some other things happened, which I thought should have meant that we should go higher, and that was when we beat Boston. And when you beat, the champs, I'm figuring that it's our path to, to at least get to the finals. And we got there and again lost to a lower seed, and I believe that that's part of the reason why Thomas Thibodeau is no longer our head coach.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Um, how do you feel about the Knicks coaching choice? First, before we talk about the new choice, how did you feel about Tom Thibodeau being let go?
Hey, well, it's a lot of mixed views on that, a lot of mixed views on how people felt. Um, yes, this man took us further than we've been in 25 years, getting us to the conference finals. But at the same token, when your assignment was the key was we thinking that we're going to play Boston in the conference finals. You know what I'm saying? For your chance. But we got them the round before and we beat them. So you're supposed to win the next round. And this was a second year in a row. Now I understand in 24, we had injuries, and the injuries is what really derailed us in that Indiana series there when we lost in the second round. But this round, we're fully healthy, pretty much, and you got a team that you're supposed to be better than. They were a good team, no question. Indy was coming on. I think we only got them by a game, right? We won 51, they won 50. Or did they
It was
49,
close. It was
something like that?
close.
Very
Yeah.
close. So it's not like we were that much, but we were still the better team, the higher seed. And when you take out the champions, you're supposed to win. The next round, you're supposed to win it, regardless. And we didn't do that. So I felt maybe it was time for a change in the head coach. Some people view like, hey, how could you fire the coach after he brought you the furthest you've been in 25 years? Well, you got to look at patterns. And so far, I mean, the 3 years we were in the playoffs, I think we was in 4 out of 5. We lost to lower seeds every time we were eliminated. And to me, that's just a trend that you don't want to keep bucking up against. At some point, yes, we did beat a team that we shouldn't beat, but then you lose to the team that you're supposed to beat. Tell me, at some point you got to make a change, and I think this was a good time to do it.
Yeah, I agree because I call even before the playoffs. I said Tom Thibodeau. I don't think he's
It
gonna
should
make
be out, right?
it. Um,
Hey, many felt the same way. It's no question. Only one that would really give you some flack on that is NYK mentality. So
absolutely. Um, so Tom Thibodeau is out, and what did you feel about the new coach, and especially the process?
I was going to say we can't go to the new coach before we go to the process. The process was wild. Yo, I've never seen a coaching search go the way that we had it go. It was like trying to get all of these coaches that are already under contract, all the flirtation with Jason Kidd and then Billy Donovan, all these coaches that had jobs already. And it looked crazy for us because all these players, all the teams are saying like, nah, you can't talk to our guy. This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I guess it was good to show those guys you had some interest in them. You know, but funny thing is that Dawn Staley came out. Now that would have been so fire had Dawn Staley actually been offered the job and she took it. But she said that she might have sabotaged herself by asking so many questions. But if the Knicks had offered the job, she said she would have took it. But the process was wild. But I think we settled in on the right guy. That's where I think it comes down to. Could it have been somebody? It's like people was wanting Johnny Bryant. I think Johnny Bryant messed up his chance because he left. He had left the year before. That's why he didn't even get an interview.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought that he was going to be the person coming back. He went to Cleveland, was their top assistant. They had the number one seed last year. You're thinking like, okay, Johnny Bryant, he knows this landscape, but he left this landscape.
Yeah.
Had he stayed and they decided to move on from Tibbs, he might have been the guy. But the process was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably going to circle back to the Dawn Staley later. But, okay. So we got 5 years out of Tom Thibodeau. Do you think Mike Brown has a 5-year run with the New York Knicks?
Loaded question. Has a lot of possibilities that could happen here, right? He has maybe, I say, 2 years to win a championship, basically. Anything other than winning a championship, even though he has a 4-year contract, after 2 years, a lot of stuff changes for us in 2 years when it comes to the cap, when it comes to the contracts, when it comes to the players, their ages, all of these different things. You don't get it done in these next 2 years. You're going to find it very difficult trying to continue the process with this same group of guys, with Jalen Brunson as your leader or Karl Anthony Towns, because they're now getting into the higher, to the 30s. They should still be high-level players, but I believe if Mike Brown doesn't get it done in 2 years, that could be the end for him. But if he gets it done, hey, 5 years, 10 years,
Yep.
Nobody will really care after that if we get a chip.
Yep. Yeah. So we're in July. The draft happened. Free agency happened. It's not over yet.
Over.
But what do you feel about the personnel changes so far?
Okay, well, let's start with what came first, the draft or free agents? Draft.
Draft
okay?
came first.
So let's start with the draft. It was kind of, sketchy how we felt about it coming down. We had pick number 50, and I know that the target was probably Tyrese Proctor. I think that's all. When we was on it, and we was in a space talking about like who, and he kept sliding and sliding. Got the 49, and who does Cleveland Cavaliers pick? Tyrese Proctor. So now we're scrambling. All right, what are we gonna do? And then they decided they took a guy named, what was his name?
DOR?
No, the guy that they drafted and then we traded. Oh. Remember, we traded with the Clippers. But anyhow, we drafted that kid, and a lot of people was happy with him. They was like, oh, wow, yeah, okay, he's cool. He's a good shooter, blah, blah, blah. And then we hear about the trade. And the trade was for a Frenchman. And our track record with Frenchmen is it hasn't been great. And we just took one last year who couldn't even get on the court for the most part. And then you hear the name Mohamed Diarra. And we're like, who? What? Where? And then we watched him play in Summer League. And we said, okay, Knicks, y'all kind of know what y'all do. Y'all got a little something going on here. So that was a very good pick, a pickup right there that I didn't expect. So, yeah, when we get to the draft, that's what I feel about that. Then we have free agency. And right at the beginning of free agency, there's the buyout with the Jazz from Jordan Clarkson. And he just right away, he's a Knick. I was like, wow, this is something because usually, there's a whole process behind it. No, it was right away. The minute he was bought out, boom, he's going to the Knicks. That's different. So that was great. And then we announced Gerson Yabusele. And the more I see about him, the more I'm liking what we got there. Now, the only challenge with those two guys, they're not known as great defenders. I know that they're both willing, especially Gerson. I know he's going to be willing, but I just heard that he's just not that his lateral quickness isn't great or what have you. But he gives us something that we haven't. Oh shoot! Oh my God! Something just blanked up on my
Oh
screen.
no,
I'm trying to get rid of it.
you're okay.
There we go.
Yep.
All right. But Gerson, I'm happy, excited about him. I was a little bit alarmed because it was the mid-level exception. I didn't know that we was going to use it on Gershon Yabusele. And if you asked me a name that I was going to use the the taxpayers mid-level exception on, it would have not been him. But I am excited that he is here now. He did have offers where he could have even got a little bit more, the same from another team, and he decided to choose the Knicks. And when players are choosing us, I'm excited about it. So that's where we're at as far as those two things, the draft and free agency.
Yeah.
So I like the additions. I think the young kid, Diarra, has some good traits. I think he's going to do well. I don't think he's going to play that much this year, but I like his skill set moving into the future. Then you also got Dink Pate, who we picked up as an undrafted free agent, who also showed up pretty well in the summer league. So I like what we have there. So we're in good hands as far as our youth. We got, 4 or 5, Kevin McCullough Jr., who may or may not get a contract. He may be on a two-way again. He may get a rookie contract. We'll see how that all works out with the cap and all that. Diarra might get one. And hopefully those are the guys. I don't know anybody else that they do have that last veteran minimum spot, and I think we'll talk about that. You'll get to that when you're ready.
Yeah. Yeah. A few of those guys. Diawara was on my radar.
Was he? Okay.
But not at the time of the draft. Because actually what happened is, I don't really follow college basketball, but I went to NBADraft.com earlier in the year. It's like, what's in our spot? And Diawara was in that spot. So I
was he? Okay, a lot of things I looked at, he was lower.
But in January.
Okay.
So this is like early January. So I saw Diawara, and I did a lot of research. I saw, he looks nice. But as the year went along, Diawara got out of the picture. He wasn't on any of the boards.
Exactly.
So when he got called, I was shocked. But I'm like, okay, he's a good player because I seen what he did.
Traits. He got the traits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Traits is all there. I mean, he got ball handling. He's pretty decent. Nice form on his shot. He's going to have to learn how to get it knocked down a little bit more consistently. But the athleticism, the length, I mean, I think it's a home run. At 51, kind of a Pascal Siakam type of clone. It puts on some strength and stuff like that. Maybe he even has some a little Giannis they could mold into him. Who knows, man? But I do like the canvas, though. The canvas is nice to work with, so.
I'm probably a little higher on Dink Pate.
Okay.
Because I don't know. The kid is hungry. Like, you ever seen somebody who's like, I'll do anything. Like, give me a job. Right. And that's how, like, that's where, like, Dink Pate is at. And I think the way he attacked Summer League, like, he attacked it. Like,
he was good.
Pounding my hand on the ball. Like, I'm going 94 feet. I'm gonna get in this game. type
got the ball situation. Well. I thought his 3-pointers was hitting.
Yeah.
Good size.
Yeah.
very willing defender, was
Mm-hmm.
out there. I think he defended well. Want to see him here in the preseason and see how he comes along. Unfortunately, though, it looks like he's going to just be in the G League. We've already made the trade so that he's here on our G League
Yeah,
team. But now, are they going to give him the two-way so
two
that we
way.
actually protect him as an asset to ensure that he can't sign elsewhere? Um, but man, listen, the kid came in as a pro at 17, going to the G League with the Ignite, I think his first year, and then on to the Capitans or Mexico City last year. Again, when you're in that situation, you're playing against guys who are very, very hungry, older guys that already have their man strength already. Um, it's a little bit different game. He came in at 17. He still played decently well, but I think that hurt his draft stock. Playing in the G League for him, I think hurt his draft stock. If a player with his skill set goes to college for the 1 year, he's a lottery pick.
Yeah, I think
You can't tell me that his talent isn't lottery pick.
lottery pick just on athleticism alone. You don't even gotta be a good shooter. It's like,
That's
oh,
right.
he could jump a certain amount. He's a certain
He
height.
has all the traits. There you
That's
go.
all you need.
So the fact that he went to the G League and they got to see the warts in his game, so to
Yeah.
speak, on that level.
Mm-hmm.
See, warts in college and warts in this level, I don't know what the difference is. You know what I'm saying? But for whatever reason, they treated it different, him being in the G League, as if he had went to the one and dones, as many do. He would have probably been a lottery pick or at least
Yeah.
a first round pick.
Yeah.
So I think we got a steal there. It's like getting a first rounder for free. And Diawara, from what he showed, thank goodness they didn't have enough microscope on him where he was playing. I think he was playing in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And over there, you know how they do the young guys. You don't get like all of this like shine minutes and all of this and that. So he was like really like somebody that they didn't know enough about, and somehow the Knicks knew about. And I think we're going to have a good one in him as well.
Yep. Yep. The future is bright.
Definitely.
So yeah. So we added some vets. Um. There's a list of potential vets.
Yes.
And Brutus, you kind of been at the forefront. You know what I mean? It's something I've mentioned in the past, but like I was kind of quiet. I was real quiet about it. I said, hey,
Yeah, I
I
know
wouldn't,
people.
I
You'll
wouldn't
get killed.
mind, I wouldn't mind having this player. And every time I said it, somebody said, "Shut your mouth." I was like, "Oh, okay." But
Let me
Brutus,
tell you what
you
that
put,
was. It is he was making 39 million.
yeah.
When he was making 39 million, I was telling people to shut the fuck up. Excuse me, I
but
guess you can blink that out.
but
Yeah, I was
you were in the
telling people to
forefront. You were in the
go
forefront.
somewhere.
You
Yeah,
you on the forefront this summer. Is like we need this guy. Tell
yeah.
us what your vision of Ben Simmons on the New York Knicks is.
Wow. I just think one of the things that this team lacks is especially in the starting lineup. And I know people look at me like I'm crazy saying like, oh, this guy coming in here on a veteran minimum and he's going to be a star. I'm just talking about balancing out the team. And when you're talking about balancing out the team, you look at our starting unit, you got four guys who averaged over 18 points a game, right? And that's starting with Mikhail was 17.6. I'm going to give him 18. OG was 18, and then you have your two major guys, 25 for pretty much for Cat and 27 for Brunson, right? So you got a lot of scoring in your starting lineup. What you don't have is like Cat isn't the greatest defender, right? At his position, and you know that Brunson isn't a great defender. So what you got to do is you need at least three good defenders around them. Now I love Josh Hart, and I love him crazily, but not that crazy that he has to be in the starting lineup. You know what I'm saying? He's a 6'4" guard masquerading as a power forward in some instances. I see we blanked out.
No, we good.
Oh, okay. And so I just think that a Ben Simmons, and plus we lack ball handling in that first unit. So my thing is you get a ball handler, you get a guy who could switch 1 through 5 defensively in Ben Simmons. And I think it covers, those two things there. And being the fact that he's 6'10", he could get switched off onto a center, he could get switched off onto a point guard, and he'll be able to guard them. So that's why I'm trying to balance out the team, figuring that a 6'10" guy who's a prolific ball handler and a top level defender joining this team would definitely make sense. So that's pretty much where I go with it.
Yeah, I kind of had like a simpler thought about Ben Simmons. Maybe not even starting him, but
Right. Now he doesn't have to. I'm just
yeah,
looking at like fit. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Because then look at this second unit. If you could do this, you'd have Josh Hart, Gershon Yerbaselli, Mitchell Robinson, Jordan Clarkson, and Deuce McBride.
Hmm.
That is a fire second. You could send them out there as a unit, and I think they'll be able to function and function at a high level.
Yeah.
That's what where we was at one point. Even Tom Thibodeau used to do that. Remember, we used to you pretty much had a whole sub
Death
of a
lineup.
5 unit that
Yeah,
could come in. Now again, Mike Brown wouldn't even have to do this, but he could do it if you do that
yeah.
because you don't need another scorer in that starting lineup. You got guys who you want to score the ball. They're talking about Mikhail getting more shots. They're talking about OG. You know that he wants his shots, right? And then you got Cat and Brunson, and those guys are high level scorers. Why do you want to fit that squad with another guy who needs the ball and needs to score?
Hmm.
I need a guy who's going to move the ball, handle the ball to take that pressure off of Brunson and defend um being able to defend really big players because part of the problem with Josh starting was when he got switched on to a power forward they could just shoot right over him. It was nothing. You know what I'm saying? He's cherry picking most of the time, giving guys open shots. So his defense really suffered.
Hmm.
Um, and with Ben Simmons out there, he's going to be able to switch on anybody who you do it with. It just makes you bigger because you got a 6'10" guy starting next to your center. Now your 6'7" wing in OG Anunoby could actually be a wing. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to having a masquerade as a power forward. You know, I just think it makes sense.
Yeah.
Something. Now, if you want to start Mitchell Robinson, cool. I'm all right with that as well. But I think Mitch doesn't address the ball handling, the secondary ball handling issue when they try to press Brunson. You know, if we don't think that Mikhail or OG are good enough ball handlers, then you damn sure ain't giving the ball to Mitch. So who else is handling the ball? That means Jalen Brunson is out there again on an island. Now, Josh did take a little bit of that pressure off of him, but you see that Josh sometimes would make these crazy mistakes with when he has the ball. He'll throw the ball into the second row at times.
Hmm.
Um, if you have a Ben Simmons out there who could see over the defense, he's going to see the lobs. He's going to see, those cuts to the basket that OG is great at and Mikhail. I just think it makes perfect sense to get a guy like that. And I think it makes sense to start him just based on our squad.
Yeah.
Josh starting, I don't want. Mitch starting, I wouldn't mind, but I don't think it's the most efficient way to go. And I'm damn sure not going with the Deuce starting because I just think it makes us too small.
Yeah.
We're just too small with Deuce starting. So, I think you could do it on occasions, which means that fifth spot actually could be a kind of a rotating spot depending on who you're
Matchup.
playing.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. You could start Mitch one night. You could start Ben one night. You could start Josh one night. You could start Deuce one night. It just depends on what you need for that particular game.
Yeah. I think Ben Simmons. I think he gives people options. I think last
There
year we
you go.
didn't have a lot of options. Like you don't want Brunson on the best offensive player, so it was always Mikhail's job.
Right.
And then whoever the bigger player, that was OG's job, and it was automatic. And I think this one is like, if you have a guy that just Mikhail does not want to play, you know what? Give him
Ben
give
could
him to
take the
Ben.
assignment. He could guard the one. He could
Yeah.
guard the one.
Yeah, I'll give it to
well
Ben.
enough.
Or
Yeah,
OG has somebody who he don't play good against. Give it to Ben. And then that's how you. That's he gives options. You're not forced to play one guy. Uh,
6'10", 1 through 5 guarding, and can handle the ball
yeah,
that helps out Brunson
yeah,
and could play make at a very high level. So
yeah.
it's not like he's one of these guys. No, when he gets that ball, he has the IQ to make something happen
Hmm.
for his teammates more than for himself. And with that squad, we don't really need him another guy who's looking to try to get his own. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? A guy that's looking to get other guys involved, take the pressure off of your main scorer, which is Jalen Brunson handling the ball, and then somebody who could help out on that defensive end to safeguard. Because OG is a high level defender. We know McHale is a very high level defender. But they both was miscast a lot last year because of the assignments that they had to guard. When you get another 6'10" versatile defender going in with that unit, I think it just makes a lot of common sense. But a lot of fans only could see this, that, or the other. They want to go back 3 years when he was in Philadelphia and what happened there, and just totally refuse to think about where he's at right now,
Hmm.
which is number one, he's healthy, right? Ended the season healthy. And number two, he still was playing at a very high level, starting to get his athleticism was back, from the back surgeries or what have you. So I think it would be a good pickup, but it looks like we're a long shot to get him. So, the
I,
other names that's out there, I guess you want to go into the other names, you can mention them and then we'll talk about
yeah, I don't really think he's a long shot. I think it's
it. Okay.
I'm I
He
pers
shouldn't be the long shot.
I
I had
person
to say that just to.
I personally think it's Boston's holding this up.
Right,
I think they have they have Simons they traded for.
right.
I don't think
And they
that
want to trade him.
they don't want to keep him. I think
Right,
they got surprised that Blazers actually took the trade.
right.
They got an upside down contract for 3 years, and they got an expiring. But then it was like, okay, I don't know what to do with this. I don't.
Right.
It's good, but I don't know what to do with this. I think they're gonna trade him for someone cheaper, and
Yeah,
then
because they saying already that Peyton Pritchard is going to be the starter.
yeah,
So Pritchard and White is going to start in the backcourt.
yeah,
Simons, you're going to bring 27 million to bring him off the
yeah.
bench.
I think they don't want their fan base to fall in love with the idea. So I think they're just like, hey, don't get too excited. He's not.
He's
He
not going to stick, not long term
he's
anyway.
not gonna stick around very long. So I think if they do that, I think they're right on the edge of tax. They're right on the edge.
Right,
So I
right.
think they want to get under the tax. Might have a little extra for Ben, but they want to stay under the tax. I think that's what's holding up this
They
Ben
did
Simmons.
in that deal the last deal that they just made. They were able to get themselves to the point where they have a taxpayers mid-level exception
Yeah,
to offer.
yeah,
But again, if they offer that, that might bring them back over the tax and also hard cap them at
yes.
the first apron.
So I think they're gonna try to get to trying to shed maybe 5 or 6 with this next Simons trade. Ben, I don't think gonna give him a whole 5. I think they're gonna give Ben something.
Right. He might, if it's $1 more than we could offer, he's
Yeah,
probably going to take it, which is ridiculous, in my opinion.
yeah,
I just think for him, if they're not offering him the full mid-level, taxpayer mid-level, I know that there's a few teams out there that have their full mid-level exception, but nobody's trying to give that because again, it's going to hard cap that team and probably put them into tax and all of that. So I don't see many teams wanting to, if they haven't spent their mid-level exception yet, they're probably not going to.
no,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Because like even Westbrook is out there. Westbrook is out there. They're not looking to give him the mid-level exception, not even the taxpayers.
yeah,
I mean, Sacramento could do it. The Sacramento has their full mid-level exception, and they're not offering They're not even offering Russ a piece of that. I mean, so
Yeah, yeah.
you
So
know,
this,
the choices for Ben is not too much, but I mean, if I look at the teams that they've been mentioning, Sacramento doesn't make a lot of sense for him. They're trying to get rid of a guard so that they could sign Westbrook because that's really who they want. He's their number one. Phoenix, why would you go to Phoenix? That's a shit show over there. That owner is ridiculous, and I don't think that they're winning anything. And they're in the West. Boston, you know that this is a down year for them. They're not competing to win a championship. I think they're going to be good. I think they'll still make the playoffs.
mm-hmm.
But if things go wrong for them, I could see them pulling the plug real quick because why not get another high pick so that they can pair with Jason Tatum when he returns next year? But they're going to try to win this year, but they're not trying to compete to win a championship.
Yeah.
So why would you join there when you could join a team that is definitely in the market to win a champ? You shouldn't care what your role is going to be. You come in, you put your head down, you work hard, you show the coach what you could do, and this is a new coach. So this is not like the Tom Thibodeau, like I got my pecking order already. No, this is, a new situation. Mike Brown wanted you when he was in Sacramento for Ben Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it makes a lot of sense that he would sign here, but I don't know what the holdup is to it. So people are saying that Landry Shamet is more of the one that they're looking at, and then everybody's new darling, Malik Beasley.
That was the next guy on my list.
We want this guy on our team.
Should the Knicks gamble on Malik Beasley?
No, don't do it. Don't do it. Now listen, it's nothing against Malik Beasley per se. Number one, well, he can't keep his financial orders, whatever. This guy wasn't paying rent. This guy wasn't paying his sponsor, his agency, nothing. So do you really want a guy like that here in New York City? You know what I'm saying? Get picked apart. Number two, he was a good player last year, but in the playoffs, he was not that good. I mean, I know he played against us, so we can remember some of the moments that he hit a shot here or there. But overall, he was bad. I think he shot like 37% from the field and 34% from three, average 14 points a game. Come on, we killed guys who put up those kind of numbers. And we had people calling it civil rights numbers, right? So why would we want another guy who didn't perform in the playoffs, right? Just to get another 6'4" guy on the team. How many 6'4" guys do we need? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see him as a fit, but everybody gets salivating because, he's a guy who hits some nice threes or what have you from time to time. But
he's one of the better volume shooters in the league. Like,
there you go.
One of the best volume shooters. Like, he's gonna be just jacking up shots a lot.
But that's Jordan Clarkson's spot.
Yeah.
If you want to get the minutes between Jordan Clarkson and you're trying to get minutes for Deuce McBride, then why do you get Malik Beasley?
That's one of the things in my last show I had. I'm like, there's things to like about Malik Beasley. You have to think about it. It's a rental. It's a 1-year rental.
That's the number one for sure.
And then not only when you get him, you have to make room for him. So he has to have a role. You gotta put him in a role. You can't just say like, yo, you come in and whatever. You know what I'm saying? I said Deuce is most likely the casualty.
He would be a casualty. I said
Deuce would be the casualty. You'll have hopefully one good year, but don't expect him to come back.
There you go. And hey, not only would Deuce maybe be a casualty, I think it also messes up Jordan Clarkson. I think you mess up that dynamic one way or the other because one of those two guys aren't going to get the kind of minutes or looks that they was going to get because you now have a Malik Beasley on the team. So
and they're different. Like Deuce and Clarkson are different. So you get you can have a game like, oh, Deuce, this is Deuce's game, and Deuce's can get more minutes, or this is Clarkson's game, he can get more minutes. But when you have Clarkson and you have Beasley, it's kind of two of the same.
If we didn't sign Clarkson and Beasley was available, then yes, you get
Mm-hmm.
Beasley. And then Beasley could even start. That's fine, because you want to put Josh Hart back to the bench. You don't want to have to start Mitch. Um, but we got Jordan Clarkson. He came in right away. So why would you upset that? He's your scoring guy. You know what I'm saying? Off the bench. We don't need another scorer in the starting lineup. What are we doing? I mean, how many guys could score?
Yeah,
We trying to get more shots for Mikhail. You get Malik Beasley, he's getting less shots.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I mean, how many shots you want Brunson to sacrifice?
yeah,
We know that he's going to have to pass the ball more in Mike Brown's system, but how many shots do you really want him to sacrifice as high level of a player here? You want to take more shots away from Cat? You don't want Cat out there shooting them threes now because that's another thing with having a Ben Simmons. If Cat is out there shooting those threes, you got another guy who could rebound, a 6'10" guy who could grab 6-7 boards easy.
he
Okay,
likes it, and he likes
and he
to.
likes it. You know what I'm saying? He sets screens. He likes to set screens. He
Mm-hmm.
likes to play make at the top of it would just be so fire if we got a guy like Ben Simmons and he earned his way into the start. Because I'm not giving him nothing. Some people are saying I'm putting him down there because I see the overall picture that I want to see as far
Yeah,
as how I think it could mesh as far as balancing out the team. But I think he'll earn it anyway.
yeah. I think we had Scoop B up here a few weeks ago, and he was talking about how Ben, like, I think a lot of fans are like upset, where Ben is at. Ben wants to get back to where he was. So
Right.
like in his head, he ain't dead. Like in his head, he's like, yo, I want to
No, he's
get back.
definitely not. He's definitely not feeling that he's dead. Matter of fact, he feels he's back.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because he's healthy. This is his first summer coming in healthy in the last 3 years or
yeah,
so. So played 51 games last year. He's played more games than some of the guys that we want to bring in here last year. And we want to talk about Ben being hurt. 51 games. He started 24. In those games, he pretty much averaged 7, 7, and 7 on 55% from the field.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? We know he's not going to shoot threes. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? You know what he's going to do. He's going to 7 assists a game out of that guy who's quote unquote your point power forward in a sense.
hmm
You know what I'm saying? Because you could use him as a power forward, but yet he's handling the ball.
yeah,
I think it's a no-brainer, and I think it would make the Knicks dangerous. But I digress.
yeah,
People want another 6'4" guy.
yeah,
Another shooting guy. They can have it if they want.
yeah.
You
So
know.
did you put another tweet out today?
No, no. Matter of fact, I did stop that because I don't. The process is just taking too long.
Yeah.
From the time that Windhorse, remember he had that. Oh, Ben Simmons should be making his decision next week, right?
Yep.
How many weeks has it been? About 5 weeks since that time.
Yep.
I got sick and tired of posting the thing every day. Ben, if he don't see what he could do here. And it's another thing if the Knicks don't want you, but if the Knicks want you, you should have been said yes. But I can't say I'm not going to hold it against them because they didn't sign anybody yet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what they're waiting for or what they got a plan. I know that they have a plan. I don't know if ultimately Ben should be part of the plan, and I'm hoping that he is. Whatever plan that they got, though, I'm happy with. I'm gonna roll with it 100%. I don't mind because I think we got enough right now anyway. I just think that having a guy like Ben will make it a little bit easier. You have another guy that's high level, another defender, another 6'10" guy, another. I just like so many things about it, but again, it's up to the organization. If he's the one that says no to us, fine. Fuck him. Oops, excuse me again. You're gonna be. Um, but if we tell him no, I think it'll be a mistake.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. If it happens, Brutus. I know Brutus would be one of the happiest Knicks fans on Knicks Twitter. We definitely got to put you in the tweet. if it happens.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, hey, then shout out to Sister Nikki, who was like one of the first ones who wanted him on the team. But again, they wanted him on the team when he was 39 million.
Yep. Yep.
At 39 million, I was telling people where they could go as well. But for 3.6 million veteran minimum, and he's got to try to play himself back to good graces in the league for another team to give him a shot with some money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to gamble on Ben. He played with Mikhail too in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
He got that going for him. Him and Cat is supposedly cool. I could see Ben now breaking into the middle and passing that ball back out to Cat for them wide open threes. I mean, I can see it right now. It looks good to me. So
yeah. everything points to like this is the best place for him. So do you think okay? So the upcoming year, do you have any predictions for the next year? Like how many games?
I definitely have us between 56 and 60. A lot of it is going to be determined based on how well we start. Like last year, Cleveland Cavaliers was like kind of an anomaly. You know what I'm saying? Because they got the new coach and everything just went dress for them, and they was able to start off hot, and they pretty much stayed hot the entire season, which is usually not something that happens. You get a first year head coach, most times things have to, the players have to get used to what's going on. But the system that was brought over there to Cleveland, they was able to catch it quickly. So I'm hoping that that's the case for us. But you do have to at least think about the fact that they could have a little bit of a slow start because of the new system and getting used to that and what have you. So that could cost us a couple of games why we don't get to 60. But once we find our stride in that, this team is pretty much going to be like kind of unstoppable. Yeah. We had like a starting unit that averaged like 100 points last year. The problem was we didn't have nothing coming off the bench. Well, now we do. Now we got stuff coming off the bench too. Mitch, I like what he's been doing in the summertime. I'm hoping that Mike Brown at least puts him into the something a couple of times a game. You know what I'm saying? Just let this man have his couple of shots, and then hopefully it'll be more of a free-flowing system where they can find him more for his bread and butter, which is the lobs and stuff like that.
Yeah. I joke with Ebony because Ebony is in the Never Trade Mitch crew. Are you in the Never Trade Mitch crew?
I don't want to trade Mitch, but again, if you have to do it depending on what you're getting back, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of the packages that I was hearing, man, imagine if we traded Mitchell Robinson for Jonas Valanciunas. Just imagine that.
Last year.
How we would have looked. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta, watch sometimes what you're thinking about when we think about some of these trades and whatever, just to get rid of a guy. You got to remember who's the new guy coming in, who's he replacing, how is he going to fit in with what's going on, all these different things. And a lot of times people is trading Mitch to get another shooter in here or a scorer. Where's your defense going, bro? Well, our defense is already not that great. And you got your two top stars or defensively deficient. So you want to add more. I mean, come on, man. How much more firepower you need? I think we have 4 guys who could average 20 easy. Mm-hmm. The 4 guys and the other 4 guys in our starting lineup could average 20 easy if the system is made a little bit easier, right? Then we had, matter of fact, Josh Hart. We talking about he averaged 14 points a game last year, almost 15.
Yeah.
And we're mad at Josh Hart for what he did. I'm only mad at defensively. And I think it's not that he was bad defensively. I think what happened was his on defense, he would get switched off to bigger players. And he was just like out of his element a lot of times because you want OG on the wing. You want Mikhail on the wing, or he's playing on the point guard. You're trying to hide Jalen Brunson. So, you got Josh Hart having to guard somebody who he shouldn't be having to guard.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're doing that, you're putting him at a disadvantage. So he wasn't very good for us defensively last year, but I don't think it's because he's not a good defender. I just think that the spots that he was put in because of the unit that he played with just wasn't right for him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, Mitch is it. I've had several shows like Mitch will be so hard to replace. Um, I
almost irreplaceable in a sense.
yeah, I said you probably if he wants to bet on himself or the Knicks, the numbers just don't work. You got to trade him, but it's not. It's you're gonna miss him. Don't think you just trade him for another guy. No, you you're gonna have to. You're not gonna get equal in return. You have to get someone who can just hold the fort for a little bit.
Knowing Mitch, he wants to be here. I
Yeah,
think Mitch is the kind of guy that if we really just do him halfway right, he's going to want to stay here for his entire career,
yeah,
right? I don't know if you're going to, I wouldn't try to sell it to him as a, hey, take this discount and, come in. Just make him an offer, man. I think we could make him 4 for 90, offer him 4 for 75 or 4 for 80. He might just say, yeah, well, I got 60 last time. They're offering me 80 this time or 75. Let me take that 4 years, 75. I'm cool with that and stay in Nick,
I,
you know?
you know what I think is gonna come out to
What's that?
three for like 48.
Okay.
I
Okay.
not like I think that is probably like the highest the Knicks are gonna go, and I'm
Maybe three
like,
for 50. I think they'll do 3 for 50. Why not? Go
yeah,
do them 3 for 50 and make that third year option for him.
yeah,
That way, if he balls out in the 2 seasons, he could go back into the Apple.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah. And I don't think it's. I think a lot of people is like it's respecting Mitch. I think the Knicks kind of look at it like a math problem. Is like, can I keep him and not have him as negative throughout the whole time he's gonna be here? Like
Negative as far as what?
negative asset. Like, is he ever gonna be worth less than what he's getting paid? And I think that's the problem. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
a lot of it has to do with his health,
mm-hmm,
but I like the regimen, and also I'm having some respect for this new training staff that we have.
mm-hmm,
And I like how I think Mitch is now more in tune with taking care of his body, recovery, things that when you're a younger player, you don't think you really need to do. And I think that he's on to that trend now. And so I don't think that the injuries are going to be as, anybody could still get injured at any time. We have to remember that. You hope that it doesn't happen to him because he's had seasons where he's had to miss a lot of games. Um, But for the most part, he's just the kind of guy that you would want to have around. So I think if I'm the Knicks, I'm signing him to that, 3 for 50, you know, 3 for 55 even. You want to give him a little bit of a reward because he was kind of underpaid
he was.
when he took that 4 for 60. But yes, he did miss a year within that. But you see how hard he worked his butt back. Shit, he didn't have to try to come back, last year for that Philly series, but he did.
Mm-hmm.
And if it wasn't for Joel Embiid and what he did to him, I think he would have been fine and not had to miss all of last year too because of getting hurt back in the playoffs again. So
Mm-hmm.
that was a bad fortune for him, but I don't think that we're going to have those problems with him anymore, but you can't say no because injuries. This is what this like. No, who would say that Tatum was going to have a blowout, and then you have Halliburton all in the same playoffs. Dame Lillard all in the same playoffs had the Achilles torn. So
Yeah.
we know that these guys' bodies and the way that they work them, anything is capable of happening.
Yeah. I think Mitch is gonna be fine regardless. I think Mitch, he has a reputation now. Like he comes up big.
Hey, let's put it this way. Last time we won a championship, we had a center from Louisiana, and Willis Reed was our center, right? And that's where Mitch is from, Louisiana, second round pick. Both were second round picks,
Mm-hmm.
and so hey, hopefully Mitch will be the guy that can help, lead us if it's on that defensive side alone. Like that's what I'm saying. Either you're putting him in the starting lineup, right? Otherwise, I don't see what else you're going to do because you're not going to start Clarkson. You want him to come off the bench. You're not starting Yabusele because him and Cat next to each other on defense is would be horrible. Um, I'm not starting Deuce. Deuce could be a spot starter based on the team. Like him starting against Cleveland, maybe. A couple of other teams, maybe. But as a full-time starter, 2-6-1 guards, you know, I don't think that's a long-term recipe for success. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm thinking, who else could you have start there? You don't want to start Josh neither because we've seen what happens when he's ultimately the starter. That's why if you sign a guy like Ben who's trying to resurrect his career as a 6'10 guy, not to say I'd give him the starting lineup, but if he shows me the traits that I know that he has, and this is Mike Brown having to look at him as a brand new head coach here and try having to win a championship. And I see this 6'10 guy come in healthy and he's ready to play because he has to resurrect his career to get another contract in this league. I might gamble on that one.
All right.
I'm ready to gamble. And I'm not a gambler whatsoever, but I'm willing to gamble on that being a good bet. Because if that man stays healthy, he's going to give us exactly what we need in that unit, which is another ball handler to help Brunson and another defender that could help out Cat. And him, Mikhail, and OG would be a dynamic 3-prong defensive attack to try to surround your two defensive deficient stars with.
Yep. All right. So we cover the Knicks pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Did any other teams you've been like you follow, or is just primarily the
I
Knicks?
follow the league, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to be up to date on whatever. But I don't care about any of these other teams. I really don't. I know who they are. I know who they got. I know what they're trying to do. But so if you're looking at another team that we think could be a team in the East that could challenge us, I think you still have to stay with Cleveland. I kind of like what they did with their upgrades. Getting Lonzo Ball, I think, was a big, move for them. So I still like the general makeup of their team. They're coming off of a fantastic regular season, but again, they flamed out in the playoffs. So could they still be another great regular season team? They have the elements. DeAndre Hunter is going to be there for the full year. Who else did they bring in over there? We know they got Lonzo. You're hoping that Evan Mobley is taking even another step to that next level. He became an all-star for the first time. You're trying to see if he could start to edge his way up to where he becomes MVP. Matter of fact, even Donovan Mitchell said, in order for this team to really be, it has to be Evan. Evan has to be the guy.
He has to take a step. Yeah.
There you go. So Donovan is saying that he probably can't be the best player on that team winning it all. He has the right mindset. I don't know if, right now Jalen Brunson believes he's that guy, and maybe he is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to discount him or distrust that he could do it. I think that this team is better if we now he could be our closer, right? He's 100% the closer. But I think that Cat has to be the best player. Mm-hmm. For this team to really get everything, he has to be the better offensive option. And basically, he shoots a high percentages both from the field and from three. So you would figure giving him more shots is just going to, keep him, if he could stay at those levels, Like Brunson for all of his. I mean, what did he shoot from the field? Like 49 and 38 from three, which is damn good.
Yeah.
But Cat was 52 and 42. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? From the field and from three. So if I'm getting a guy who's shooting over 50% from the field and he's also your best 3-point shooter, I want him to get, more shots. And if I take that defensive pressure off of him by getting another big guy that could play some defense next to him, whether it be Mitch or whether we do that thing and we sign Ben Simmons, I think that could free Cat up to be even more of an offensive threat because he won't have to be so worried about defense and or rebounding. His rebounding was at a very high level, and I think he's can maintain that, but he doesn't have to try to exceed it. You know what I'm saying? Because he had two poor rebounders playing next to him. When you had McHale, who only averaged, 3 rebounds, and you had OG, who averaged a bit under 5. I think he was like 4 something, maybe 5.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's your power forward getting 5 rebounds, that means the center has to get all the rest of the rebounds. And that's not a great formula.
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed like it was a two the two halves of the season, and Cat really started off the season. Them numbers,
Was was off the chain. Yeah.
and
He
then
was, he was good.
second half, like he struggled to get open for three. I think if
I'm
what
going to say it, but I don't want to say it.
yeah
Everybody, a lot of people had pointed out to when the first All-Star votes came out and Jalen Brunson wasn't on the list, all of a sudden we seen a shift in how they were playing. And all of a sudden it seemed like Cat did take more of that secondary role where before it seemed like that they was both going at it, but for whatever reason, Jalen got no respect. But when they seen that those tallies and he wasn't on that list, Jalen kind of like, okay, what? I'm not even top 10? Okay, I'm going to show y'all. And then after that, he did what he had to do, and he became an all-star starter as well. But I think that those two guys have to figure out a way to be great together. We can't have it like it was first half Cat and then the second half Jalen of the season. No, we need to have both of those guys being able to play at a high level at all times together. Mm-hmm. When they're on the floor together, they need to be able to both work off of each other and have the defense guessing which one of these guys is going to kill us tonight.
Yeah.
As opposed to, and it should be both of them, as opposed to, oh, it's your turn, oh, it's my turn, oh, you did this game, so now I got to try to get mine. No. And I don't think that they was actually thinking that way, but it just kind of went that way. Mm-hmm. And we just got to be more mindful not to let it go that way.
Yeah. Yeah, so a lot to look forward to next season.
Big season. Big year for us. Big year for this new coach. Big year for the additions that we did get. And let's see where I think it's finals or bust. I'm not saying championship or bust. I'm saying finals. If we don't make the finals, I think it's a disappointment, especially in a year when you have the other top team, other two top teams that played, one in the conference finals, one who won the championship the year before. Indiana went to the finals, actually. Excuse me. Those guys are missing their top guns. So if both teams is missing their top gun, not to say that those teams won't be good, but they should not have championship aspirations, or they should figure that trying to win a championship without their best player is probably not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah. For us going into it, our mindset should be this team has to make the finals.
Yeah, that has to be the goal. I think this is. We didn't know it, but last year was the first year of the championship window. So I think, this year. I think this year is kind of that pivotal year. Next summer they had a little flexibility with some of the assets they have. if there's something they want to change, next summer is the time to change it.
Yeah, next year
Yeah,
there's a good chance we're going to be a second apron team.
yeah,
I think that we're probably going to try to do some things to work around it. And that's why this season is so pivotal, because I think that there's certain players, and it could be players that people aren't talking about, could be on their way out.
yeah,
Like uh, this is my hot take for the season. If Josh Hart doesn't become a more willing shooter when he's open, and he doesn't be a good practice player, which he notoriously has even said it on many occasions that he's not a good practice player. Him and Jalen has joked about it. And from what we understand about Mike Brown is that he values practice. So if Josh Hart is not a high level practice player, and then when he gets in the game, he refuses to take some of those wide open threes. And, you seen Mike Brown yelling at Keegan Murray when he did that. And then the Met forced him to take the next one and he made it. But what if Josh doesn't listen? You know what I'm saying? Eventually that thing could come to a head. This isn't Tom Thibodeau, who had such a love affair for Josh Hart that, he was unmovable for Tom Thibodeau. This is Mike Brown and his first year. If Josh isn't giving him everything that he needs or wants, Josh could be a guy with his 19 or 20 million next year that could definitely be on the move out of here.
yeah.
And he has been a part of 2 superstar trades in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, and each coach, like, they value different things. Tom Thibodeau,
There you go.
Tom Thibodeau admired hustle.
Love affair with Josh Hart. No
Love
question.
affair with hustle and defense. Mike Brown does not have the same love affair.
That's right.
He likes aggressiveness. And if he's just like hanging out on offense, that's not good with Mike Brown.
Or even hanging out on defense sometimes, because sometimes he used to hang out so he could try to get rebounds, what have you. Because remember, he was our second leading rebounder behind Cat. Damn near 10 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You don't need that from your 6'4" guard. I mean, I'd rather him be more of a shooter, more of a willing shooter when he gets that ball in the corner, not to hesitate and then put the ball on the floor and then drive into the paint just to either throw the ball away or make try to make some other kind of play. No, the ball got to you in the corner. You're wide open. Let it fly. And he has sometimes a refusal to do that. And I think that him and Mike Brown could clash if that's the case.
Yeah.
And then also there's the practice issue. If he's not going to be a high-level practice player, because Josh is one of those players who say, like, no, listen, I'm going to give it all in the game. So if you, like with Tom Thibodeau couldn't practice him like that because he knows he wants to play him 38 minutes in the game and have him doing what he's doing in the game. So you can't then turn around and tell him practice hard. Well, Mike Brown's going to want you to practice hard as well. And also, I'm not trying to play you 38 minutes in the game. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it could be a clash point between those two guys at some point. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping that him and Josh will get it together, but I don't want to see Mike Brown fall in love with him like Tom Thibodeau did, because I think it was detrimental.
It was. I'm the thing about Josh, I was really impressed with Josh when he played 25 minutes, 30 minutes a game.
There you go.
And what was it? The year before he started playing a lot of minutes in the playoffs, he looked good because that was his first time doing it.
That's right.
But last year, 40 minutes a game, he couldn't redline it. You know what I mean? You can't play on 10 for 40 minutes a game.
And his numbers weren't bad. His numbers were actually he shot like 53% from the field. And he shot like, ultimately it came down, I think. But he was kind of up there for a while with his 3-point shooting. Then all of a sudden that just went to pot. But ultimately, like, again, you don't want him playing 36, 38 minutes a game, 40 minutes a game. No. It's not happening no more. I think 28 minutes is just a good spot for him. 26 to 28 minutes and off of the bench. Now, is he going to be happy with that too? Because that's a big change in your role if you're going from, 38 minutes to and starting to 28, 26 minutes, and now you're coming off the bench. How
Yeah,
does he handle that?
yeah, yeah. We will see.
We will see,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Are there any
Well,
other
fortunately.
stories around the league that piqued your interest? Like,
There's not much happening right now. This is these dog days, man. It's like really you're waiting to see what's going to happen with Westbrook. You're waiting to see what's going to happen with Malcolm Brogdon because now all of a sudden we're interested in Malcolm Brogdon. Well, what happened to Malik Beasley? We was about to sign him according to some people. So, I don't know where they're going with it, but once you need a domino to start falling, and I don't think nothing is happening until like maybe the second week in September,
yeah,
may start to get some movement again
because
as
that's
far
when
as players being signed.
players who were traded, around that free agency time, they could be traded
Yeah.
again. So
Right. Certain players, not the guys who signed, but the players who was traded. So we'll see what happens, but it's not too much else to talk about. We know that OKC is a powerhouse. I like what Houston did out there, so you're gonna have to watch them. They got a lot of firepower, man. They brought in a lot of players. I
mhm.
don't know how they're gonna do as far as rotations, but I love their coach. So I think that they're in a good spot to challenge out there. People are saying Denver's going to challenge again. They're not concerned with this coach that they got now. Some people is acting like it's still Mike Malone. This is a brand new coach. We got to see how he's going to work with that squad. Their pickups was okay. Uh, I would still say that they're like maybe number 3 in the West,
Mhm.
maybe. The Lakers, like Luka Doncic, looks like he's not playing around. You know what I'm saying? He looked like, I mean, I don't know if it's photoshopped or whatever, but the pictures of him is looking slim and he's looking, stronger. He just played a game today for Slovenia and was like, what, 34, 9 assists. You know what I'm saying? So, and looking good out there. So, if Doncic is an MVP candidate and you still got that old man out there, LeBron James, could they find a way to put some things together?
Mhm.
Another team that people are sleeping on here in the East is Milwaukee Bucks.
Mhm.
You got to remember what they did. They went to the team that went to the finals last year and took their center,
Yeah.
right? And they brought back the Gary Trent and they Amir Coffey was a guy that some of us was looking at. He went over there. Um, Prince is back, and they got that Greek freak out there,
Yeah.
man,
I
Giannis.
I think
So
they had a tremendous summer. Like
yeah,
you when the season ended, I said Milwaukee's done. Milwaukee's done, and they pulled every trick out of the book to fill that
there you
roster.
go. Because they had to upgrade.
Hmm.
Like Brook Lopez, you get a Miles Turner.
Hmm.
I mean, that's to me, it's an upgrade. He's a younger player, uh, probably even a better 3-point shooter, and as good as blocking shots. And probably, I mean, they're both poor rebounders, him and Brook, but probably similar. So I like what Milwaukee's done. So anybody who's really sleeping on them, I don't know what they're looking at. And then you also have the Orlando Magic. Could they ever like kind of put it all together?
Yeah.
They made a big move, bringing in Desmond Bain. I don't know how much it's really going to elevate them. Um, but they're still going to be a threat. And Atlanta, you got to watch what they did. I don't think it's going to be enough to like deal with us or
Hmm.
Cleveland, but Nikhil Alexander, Walker, some other people, and I see my phone here is about to try to die. So,
Yeah, yeah, we could wrap it up pretty soon. But yeah,
but those are the ones we're looking at.
there's a lot of a lot of parity in the league, but I think the Knicks are gonna still do they're gonna do some damage this year. So
Hey, every team is thinking that they got a shot. You know, not every team, but there's certain teams that have done a couple of things that because you got Boston is going to be down, and you got Indiana is going to be down. In the East, you got a lot of teams like the Orlando's, like the Atlanta Hawks, the Milwaukee Bucks making Philly is even thinking that they can make a resurgence, but a lot of that will depend on Embiid. But
yep.
so you got to be mindful of all of those things. But I still think we're the best of the lot, and I think we could go out there and show it, and we should do that to the tune of 56 to 60 wins. So
All right, that's nice. Uh,
number one in the East and a finals appearance. Will it end in the championship? We'll see.
yep, you heard it here first. Brutus.
Yes, sir.
Tell
Thank you, brother, for having me on, man.
yeah, tell everybody where they can reach you.
Yeah, man. On Twitter at Be True to Life, man, and of course Your Take Knicks. Also, we do a little different thing from not always is sports. We do a one where we just talk about life instances, whether it be things going on in politics in the world and everything. On the conversation, you'll find me with Queen P and Darul, and then of course Your Take Knicks for the pre games with myself and Queen Ebony. So you'll see me and then from time to time I do a pop up space here and there. I'll probably do more of those. I've just been relaxing this summer, man, taking it easy, enjoying the grandkids, and just doing things like that, man. We'll see what happens this season, man. Football season is about to start in another week, so hey, this is all good, man. Good time to be a Knicks fan, and good time to be a sports fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so absolutely follow Unc Brutus. So this is pretty much the end of our episode. Thanks everybody who stayed in the chat. Like we've had people stay in the chat pretty much the whole time. Please like and subscribe. I'm gonna keep bringing on some of my favorite like creators and people in Nick spaces. Like if they are on here, I respect their knowledge. I respect what they do. Brutus, he runs them spaces. Yeah, I absolutely love having you on, and I'll catch everybody next time. We'll have our next off-season discussion.